What is up, guys? The LA Gamer here, and today I am bringing you guys a new series on my channel. Now, this is going to be a Madden 16 fantasy draft. I know I have already done one with the Seattle Seahawks, and don't worry, if you are a huge fan of that series, the creation of this series will by no means counteract or end that other one. This is just another series I'm doing for my own personal enjoyment, because I want to do a new draft, I want to try out new players, I want to try out a new team, and I want to try out a new environment. So that's kind of the reason behind this. We'll be using the Atlanta Falcons in this year's fantasy draft, or in this I guess team's fantasy draft, who knows. And the reason I'm doing that is because I like their color scheme with the red and black jerseys. I like their stadium, and primarily if you're doing a fantasy draft, those are the things that are most important, because realistically, it doesn't matter who their players are, because right now we're about to draft some new ones. So let's name him LA Gamer. I do not have the creativity to think of a better name, so we'll just go with LA Gamer, keep it nice and simple. And then we will actually, once we finish that, I think we'll just keep the playbooks normal at the Atlanta playbooks. I haven't used them enough to actually know if they're any good, so I don't feel like I can make a good enough actual assessment on whether they're the playbooks I want to use for the future. So I'll play a couple games with Atlanta Falcons playbook, and if it doesn't work out for me, I will just switch them a couple of games in. So real quick, we're going to go here, change the league settings, or change the skill level to all Madden, of course, and change the skill settings to, or not the skill settings, the preseason injuries to off. And now that that's done, we don't have to worry about anybody being injured once we draft them. And now that we got fantasy draft ready to go, let's load it in here and get things going underway. So we're not going to change any schemes here. I think we have a pretty good idea already of what we want our schemes to be, so we're not going to worry about that just yet. We'll just hop in here and draft the players that we think fit what I want to build the most. So now that we're in here, we have the number 6 overall pick. Here we go. We can get a pretty nice quarterback here now that we have a number 6 overall pick. Let's look what the quarterbacks look like. We have Derek Carr, Andrew Luck, Teddy Bridgewater. I've never been able to get a super nice quarterback, so it is a great opportunity for me to do just that. Sadly, we missed out one pick away from an Aaron Rodgers, a Russell Wilson, a Cam Newton. We're one pick away from Aaron Rodgers, but we missed out quite a bit by Cam Newton and Russell Wilson. But still, one pick earlier we could have gotten Aaron Rodgers. That's too bad. That's definitely who I personally would have wanted to get. But we have actually Tyrann Mathieu here. 97 overall, 23 years old. He's got 98 man and 97 zone. I did not know Tyrann Mathieu had that great of a year, but that is absolutely phenomenal. I would not mind actually getting him, because that is absolutely ridiculous. Those stats are not even fair. But realistically, a quarterback is probably the most important position in the game of football. No insult to any other positions out there, just that's typically how it's viewed. So we primarily have between Andrew Luck and Derek Carr. And personally, I've used Andrew Luck before. I really like him, but I've never used Derek Carr, and it makes me want to use him more because I've never used him. So I want to try him out. I want to try out new quarterbacks, try out new playstyles. So let's go with Derek Carr here with the number 1 overall pick, or the number 1 overall pick for our team. And now that we got that done, I feel like what we want to do is give him a great receiver to work with. So let's see. As we look at the receiving cores, we have Dez Bryant, Brandon Marshall, Kelvin Benjamin, Calvin Johnson. No shortage of receivers here. We missed out on a couple guys like Antonio Brown, Julio Jones. Some of those great receivers, but of course we couldn't expect them to be there late in the second round. So we got Dez Bryant, who I really like. We got Calvin, who I really like, but he is at the age of 29. He's not that old, but he's getting up there a little bit. Kelvin's a little bit too slow for my liking. So yeah, I would say Dez Bryant's probably my favorite here. Since we turned off pre-existing injuries, we don't have any concerns here with him and his constant foot injuries that nagged him this whole season. And since he is a solid 6'2", and he jumps so high, 98 jumping to be exact, he's going to play like a big receiver. So I like Dez Bryant, and we'll get him as our number 1 overall receiver. And because we had an early pick, we'll have an early pick here in this third round, so we can finally get a nice defensive player. So let's see what we got going on here. A lot of great defensive tackles, but of course defensive tackles don't matter a whole lot because they stay up there for quite a while. So we'll look down here a little bit more. A lot of options here, primarily at the defensive lineman positions. Free safety, I normally always miss out on a really good free safety, and right now the best one out there looks like Eric Berry, and he's kind of the youngest one as well. And I wouldn't mind getting Eric Berry. Now, I'm a huge fan of him. I've actually liked him for a long time, and then of course he had his whole cancer situation that kept him out a year, but he fought that off really well, and it's good to see him back in the league doing a great job. And so I wouldn't mind getting him at the free safety position, kind of get our secondary loaded up here pretty early. But then I wouldn't mind getting a cornerback as well, because we do need a cornerback pretty badly. And kind of sucked not to have one good number 1 cornerback. And I feel like the one guy we could build around at the quarterback position would be Vontae Davis. So right now it's kind of between just Vontae Davis or Eric Berry, but I feel like there's more options to get a new cornerback than there is to get a new free safety. So I mean, there's more. Yeah, you guys know what I mean. Either way, I feel like the cornerback's a better option here. And we'll go with Vontae Davis because I like him a little bit more than Stephon Gilmore. So, yeah, I feel like Vontae Davis is the option there. But let's move on into a little bit later of a round. Let's see, the wide receiver position. We still have a couple of options here. Wouldn't mind getting a guy like T.Y. Hilton as our number 2 receiver, but I feel like we still need to stack up our defense a little bit more before we can worry about all that too much. We got Darian Stewart. He's probably my favorite free safety left, so we'll go with him. Like I said, I want to get that secondary just built. I want to make it so nobody can pass on me. Something I realized from the recent fantasy drafts, it doesn't matter what type of team setup I have, I can always stop the run for some reason, but I can never stop the pass. So I want to be able to build a team that can stop the pass. We got Amari Cooper here. That would be an awesome pick, Amari Cooper. I love T.Y. a lot too, but I would really, really like myself an Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's actually got basically close to the same speed. He's got the same speed, just a little bit slower acceleration than T.Y. So he's a fast player, that's for sure. And then strong safeties, we still have Rashad Jones, Will Hill. We can look around at some linebacker positions, but I feel like we should be fine to get a guy like Amari Cooper, and I feel like that's going to be who we have the most fun with. So we'll get Amari Cooper here at the number 2 receiving position. And now that we got 2 great receivers, we don't have to worry much about the passing game anymore, which will be good news because now we know that we got that kind of filled out. And I'm kind of excited to see how that all works out. So now let's look at some linebacker positions. Got Wesley Woodyard, Terrell Freeman. Outside linebackers are usually a little bit harder to get. So we got Nigel Bradham, who's probably my favorite routes linebacker out there. Then left outside linebackers have already kind of been taken, so that's already kind of filled up. But let's probably go with Nigel Bradham. Yeah, we'll go with him. Probably the best outside linebacker that there is to pick from right there. I do like Thomas Davis a lot as well, but he's in his early 30s at this point, and I'm not super comfortable with getting a player of that age, typically because I like to draft young. So we'll move on here into the running back position. We got Marshawn. We got, sadly, AP did get taken, but we got Giovanni Bernard, who I really like. And I feel like if we don't get him now, we will not have a great running back here coming up in the next couple of rounds. So that's a little bit scary to think about. We got Devontae Freeman, though. So we have a lot of options, actually. We have Devontae Freeman, Lamar Miller, Giovanni Bernard. So we don't have to worry about a lot, actually. We'll worry about it another time. So let's try to fill up that defense a little bit more before we worry about a running back. We got Vic Beasley Jr., who I really like, actually. One of the best left ends in the game. And he's so young, too. Defensive tackles are getting taken fairly... that's a little punt. They're just getting taken fairly early. These guys see what I did there. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not funny. But yeah, let's get Nick Fairley because defensive tackles are getting taken really early there. And then defensive ends, I usually can work with whatever fast defensive end there is. So I'm not going to worry about that just yet. Giovanni Bernard's still up there, which gives me reason to believe the other nice running backs are still up there as well. So I'm not going to worry about even looking at running backs just yet. Let's see. We're gonna want some. We're gonna want some defensive ends here, and nothing really going on there. Right end, we still have Randy Gregory and Dante Fowler Jr., but sadly, I did draft him in the other draft. I don't really want to redraft players, so yeah, we're not gonna worry about getting them just yet. Also, I'm gonna apologize ahead of time for the occasional cough. I am still fighting a little bit of a sickness, so I'm going to have that occasional little phlegmy cough here and there. I know they're disgusting, but it's what can I do, really? Brandon Spikes here is a great player. 95 hit power, 95 tackling. Open field wise, he's going to be an awesome player to have. So I say, yeah, let's go with him. He's in his late 20s, but that's not that big of a deal. 95 hit power. Hopefully we can force some fumbles, force some turnovers. That's usually what you want to do when you're playing the CPU, because CPUs usually don't make that many mistakes. So the only way you can really force a mistake is by making them turn over the ball. So that's one way of doing it. So let's see, we're running a team formation that runs 2 defensive tackles. So we wouldn't mind looking at another defensive tackle here, seeing what we can do. We got Star. Ooh, I like Star Lutulele a lot. We'll not mind getting him. And if we don't get him, we got Brockers actually. We have a little bit of options here. Hawkins is a really nice young player as well. I think we might be all right. But right in the left, I would say that's the biggest issue. So I don't know where we're going to go with these positions, because I don't want to get Dante Fowler. Should we just keep that combination going, Dante and Randy Gregory? Because I'm starting to think we should. Yeah, let's at least get Dante. Dante was awesome for me in my other fantasy draft franchise, so I want to keep him going. We won't get Gregory though. We won't keep the same combination because I feel like that's getting a little bit too boring for you guys. So running back position still has not been taken. I don't want to take another risk on it though, because sadly Lamar Miller did get taken. Giovanni Bernard's the last great guy up there besides Devontae Freeman. I'm not going to take the risk of both those guys getting taken. So we'll get Giovanni Bernard here. A nice 5'9" player. He's pretty nice, pretty elusive, pretty agile. He's one of the best actual running backs in the gameplay for the Bengals nowadays. And we're going to switch our scheme to a receiving wide receiver position. Or no, not a receiving back position. So his overall should go up into the low 90s because that's kind of fits the scheme a little bit more. So looking at defensive tackles again. Something I want to look at. We still have a few nice guys here. This Ian Williams guy is probably my favorite. Then we have Steve McClendon. I said we go with Ian Williams. He kind of fits the scheme a little bit better. He's a little bit younger than Steve McClendon, so I don't see any reason not to get him. I'll move on a little bit later. We got our defensive tackle settled down now, which we actually have a positional overall at, so that's a great job. And then let's look at maybe another cornerback, maybe a strong safety. Let's see what we got going on here. Strong safeties, we still have a little bit of options. TJ Ward, being one of my favorites personally, with a really nice hit power, 91 hit power. I love Barry Church. I literally love Barry Church. Now this dude, I'm gonna say this right now. I usually always play draft champions. I love draft champions. I always draft him, and he literally gets me like at least 1 or 2 interceptions every game. Yeah, we gotta go with Barry Church. This dude is my boy. I swear, he's like, you know how sometimes you have those players that you just dominate with? Barry Church is my guy for this year at least. So we're gonna have to go with him at the free safety position. And now looking around, would not mind getting some nice tackles on the offensive line. There's only a couple of guys left. We got Lane Johnson here at the right tackle position. Left tackle position, we don't really have much. So we'll get Lane Johnson, as he's probably the best right tackle left. And I kind of want to get a nice little outside offensive lineman, because if we can get that nice and going, we can probably get the running game nice and going, which will actually help us a lot, because I want to have a nice all-around offense. So looking around here, let's get a nice right guard too. David DeCastro probably being the best one. He's 25. Kevin Zeitler is 25 as well. Let's just look at their stats real quick, kind of compare, see what I like more. And personally, it's looking like I like Zeitler a little bit more, honestly. Yeah, Zeitler looks like the better player, so I don't understand the reasoning on why he's lower overall. He's literally better at like everything but speed. No, he's even better, or like the same as that. So never mind, we're getting Zeitler. He looks so much better. I don't understand the reasoning on why he's a lower overall. It literally makes no sense to me, but we will get him. And then with our next pick, we will get a... Is there any good left tackles? Probably not, right? Not really. We got Michael O'Hare, but I'm pretty sure he's getting there in his late 20s, or yeah, late 20s, 29 years old. So I'm not super comfortable with that. Let's move on here into the maybe a cornerback. I wouldn't mind a second cornerback. We got Brent Grimes, who is actually really nice, but he's getting up there in age a little bit. But he could actually last us a couple of years. Yeah, he could last us a couple of years, I guess. But I just don't know. We got that. We got Byron Jones, Jeremy Lane. Well, Byron Jones, he's got great stats, great speed, great overall athleticism. So we'll go with Byron Jones as our secondary cornerback. Here, let's continue to move on. Here we are in did I say the 16th round? We're going here pretty quickly, to be honest. We still have another defensive end position to take care of, but it looks like none of them are really getting taken that early, so we'll worry about it a little bit later. We do still have the center position to take care of. We got Mike Pouncey, who I like a lot. Alex Mack's another great player. John Sullivan's there as 30-year-old. I just am not super comfortable with that, so let's go with Mike Pouncey, who's actually one of my favorite centers in the game. I like Marquise Pouncey a lot too, but of course he has already been taken. And now that left guard's trying to get taken a little bit. Let's look to get one of them. So we got Ben Grubbs, who's, yeah, a little bit older there, 31 years old. Matt Slauson, I believe he's, yeah, a little bit old as well, in his late 20s. And so is Alex Boone. So we kind of missed out on a lot of these left guards. But that was kind of to be expected, considering that we worried about that right side a little bit more. Which makes sense, because we will kind of be forcing the ball to the right side, because we have a right-handed quarterback. And we have, well, personally, I like to run the ball to the right side a little bit more. And then, either way, let's get Anthony Costanzo. Probably one of the best left tackles out there, and he's nice and fairly young, 27 years old. That's definitely something you can work with, and it should last us for basically the length of this franchise, so we should be fine there. Now let's look at left ends. We have Brent Robinson, Mario Addison. Man, I just don't know. Mario Addison's probably the favorite. A little bit younger. I mean, Ryan Davis, let's see how fast this guy is, 76 speed. Mario Addison's quite a bit faster. Relatively good finesse moves. Now his hit power is not really where I'd want it to be. What is this guy's hit power? 71. None of these guys' hit powers are necessarily where I want them to be. So we'll get Mario Addison Just because I don't want to wait on a left end position anymore, because we don't have one. So end's an important position, so I don't want to miss out on that. Now we need to get still a wide amount of players. So we need to get left outside linebacker. Mark Barron's actually a guy who I like a lot. He's really fast, 86 speed, 86 acceleration, and 92 hit power. Just recently converted from a safety. I know he was a safety on the Buccaneers here just recently, but yeah, I say we go with Mark Barron. A pretty dominant player in terms of hit power and stuff like that. And if we can have a really nice group of guys in the linebacking positions that can hit really hard, I think that will do a lot to force turnovers. So I kind of like that idea. Now let's move over to the cornerback position. We have Brandon Carr. Not a whole lot of options here. Brandon Carr's probably my favorite guy up there, and he's 29 years old. So yeah, we missed out here on the cornerbacks. Let's be honest. No good number 3 cornerbacks to work with. This Quan Williams guy might not be that bad though. He's got relatively good speed, pretty good man coverage. I say we go with him, and he's nice and he's short, and that kind of fits well because we're going to be using him as a cornerback that covers the slot receiver. I don't know exactly what that's called, but either way, you guys know what I mean. So being short's not going to really affect him that much. So lastly, we're going to look at the left guard position now. Carl Nix is a nice guy, but he's getting up there in age, 30 years old. Shaq Mason, 22 years old. They don't have a profile picture for him because he probably did a lot better than people expected, but he's a 78 overall. One of the highest overalls that we can choose from. He's 22 years old, so we'll go with him. And I have no complaints with that left guard. Nice young guy to build around here at the guard position. So moving on, we have wide receiver and tight end we need to take care of. So let's look at tight ends real quick. We don't want to get what's his face again? It looks like he's already taken actually. But the guy I had last time, I can't remember his name. Whatever his name was, he was crazy. But let's look at speed rating real quick. We got some great speed guys here. Luke Wilson actually probably being the favorite. So we'll go with Luke Wilson. He's nice and young. Now I know he develops really well as also, so I wouldn't mind getting him as he usually develops into the 90s within a couple of years. So we'll get him as one of the best tight ends up there, and then we'll get a nice receiver here, hopefully, if we can find one. I like Ty Montgomery a lot. A lot. 22 years old. He's one of the best receivers for the Packers right now because, Jordan Nelson kind of went down with an injury, so they're expecting a lot out of Ty Montgomery. He did a pretty good job, so we'll get him as our number 3 receiver. Moving on here a little bit later into the draft. What are we? I didn't even see what round we were in. We're just kind of flying through this draft, I'll be honest. I would say at this point, let's get a kicker, a punter, a backup quarterback, and running back. And then I would say we're good to go for this draft. We're going through this pretty quickly, and I'm pretty happy with our actual speed in this draft. We'll get Jimmy Garoppolo as the backup quarterback. He's nice and young. I already know he's a pretty nice thrower of the ball. I've always heard he's got a really nice release and delivery of the football, so I have no complaints with that. Now, with the running back position, I like Bobby Rainey a lot, actually. Dexter McCluster, a guy who I'm pretty sure used to be a receiver, now is being a he's now being a running back. I'm pretty sure he's a good kick returner as well. He's got an 87 kick return rating. But I like Bobby Rainey a lot. He's nice and small, nice and agile. So yeah, I wouldn't mind getting him. We'll get Bobby Rainey as our backup running back. He shouldn't get that many touches anyways, considering that we have Giovanni Bernard, who I kind of consider to be a every down type of back. So I doubt that guy's going to get that many touches. Now let's get a kicker and a punter. Kicker. Oh, let's just get Janikowski. I know. Oh, he's in his late 30s now. Man, that's crazy. I did not know he aged that quickly. That's actually good. Chandler kick. I'm not even going to try. But 95 kick power, that's a phenomenal. That's a great kicker. I mean, Janikowski would have been fun just to hit super long field goals with, but that guy should be able to kick him pretty far as well. And then at the punter position, where's my guy? I got a guy who I love, but it looks like he may have already been taken. Yeah, usually I like Tressway a lot. Tressway's a really nice punter in my opinion. But here we go. Sam Martin, 96 kick power. He's probably the best punter out there. So we'll go with him, and then I believe that's probably the end of the picks that we need to make. We have 28 rounds that we've completed, and I would say that we got the majority of our backups kind of squared away. We'll let the receiver do the rest of the draft, or not the receiver, oh my goodness. We'll let the CPU do the rest of the draft just because of the fact that I don't want to bore you guys with too many picks. I just kind of want to get through this draft quickly and start rolling with this. Make sure to comment your opinion on how you think this draft went and what I could have done to make it better, or what picks you think I should have done in the comment section below. And lastly, make sure to subscribe if you have not already. Just stay tuned to this series and other series I got going on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in week 1 of the regular season. Peace out.